Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Monday night Zoom edition. Bitcoin and Ethereum doing pretty well and forming a nice range. And I have mapped that out. Let's go to the charts and check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yeah, we can see it.
Thank you. Let me reset that and bigger than that. I'm on the day chart. This will look more meaningful on the 4-hour chart, I believe. Yeah. All right, that's better. So we are in this range for the last 2 weeks between 31 and change, say 31,200, and then down here to just below 30K. So there's multiple touches at 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the 4-hour chart, and then breaking through the bottom of this range here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm looking to, on those of you who like to swing trade, go short here and go long here. And I've got a couple alerts set up for that function, and I've got some additional purchases set up in case I'm wrong. And we'll talk about this a little more. It's not really the focus of what I usually talk about in this hour, but since I had this mapped out on the chart, I thought it might be useful to talk about. For those of you who like to swing trade, this range might be useful to you. On Ethereum, let's also go down the 4-minute chart, 4-hour chart. It's pretty similar. We've got the range down here on the bottom, 1635, 1710, and then here, 1915 to 1975. And we have been we actually haven't hit the bottom of this on Ethereum, since June 20th. So one could argue I should move this up here. Maybe. It's a matter of interpretation. I think I'll leave it where it is, but then the distance between these on the chart, yeah, right about 10%. So it's been mostly going sideways in this actually tighter range here around 1828 to 1970. But I'm looking to get along when it dips down here again. We'll see if that happens. News-wise, so a lot of coins are doing pretty well. I have my Litecoin background today. It was doing pretty well. Let's see if it still is down today. It was doing better towards the end of last week. It shot up to 113, down a little bit down to 106, but it broke above 100. So kind of liking Litecoin at the moment. Unfortunately, I exited my swing trade too soon, made a small profit, about a medium profit by my standards. Should have hung in there a little longer. And some of these coins that are still proof of work have escaped the wrath of the SEC. So they have not been damaged as much as some of those that are more proof of stake. And those are, people in a Telegram group I'm in was talking about, why are some coins still doing poorly, BNB, the Binance coin, Solana. And I responded Solana and Matic and Atom are still within that lawsuit, and they've gone up a little bit, but mostly sideways. So
yeah, that question was about BNB, and I was wondering, BNB is the coin of Binance, correct?
yes, that's correct.
So and isn't the owner of Binance CZ in a bit of strife? So could that affect the price of BNB?
Yeah, yeah, that's a more thorough explanation of what I said, and that he was named personally, as was Binance in the SEC lawsuit. So obviously that affected the BNB coin and then the others I talked about. So thank you for expanding on that. Probably went over it a little too quickly. Um, any thoughts, comments about the markets overall before we look for some day trades on Altcoin Alert?
Yes, about the BNB.
Okay.
Um, wasn't that just to be in the Binance US that was involved in the lawsuits?
No, I think they
Or
went
was it
after.
BNB, which is overseas?
I think it was BNB Global too, which makes me think, what jurisdiction does the SEC even have against them? Um, but they named, CZ personally. I guess he has some role in, and I'm not sure what the corporate relationship is between Binance US and Binance Global. I thought there was spun off or there's a loose relationship or something, but
Yeah, I thought it was like spun off because the SEC said they wouldn't allow Binance to trade.
yeah. So I assume
Yeah,
that's covered in the lawsuit as well.
yeah, I didn't read it.
No, I didn't either. I probably should have. I'm sometimes
Too much
interested in such
lawyery
things. Well, I used to be a paralegal, so sometimes I like getting into things like
uh,
that. But
into the
that's
weeds.
why I mentioned the jurisdiction issue. That didn't make sense to me, but I don't know much about the SEC. A little beyond my experience. So, all right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and bounce over to Altcoin Alert and see if we can find some trades. I've had a pretty good trading day, so. And let's go to Altcoin Alert. And I am on the altcoin radar. I'm going to refresh and then sort the AA score. It's usually the first one I do. Aeon's been hanging around for a few weeks up here, but it's hard to find. It's not on any significant exchange as far as I know. So I haven't paid much attention to it. I think Bitcoin Cash is interesting. I'm usually looking for AA scores of 80 or above. This one's pretty close. A little dip today, but this one's been pumping like crazy. I thought it was the basic, Bitcoin's doing well, so some retail buyers are buying Bitcoin Cash, but I read a Twitter post, whatever that's worth, that there are some institutions or at least some whales buying into this as well. So that's kind of interesting. Let's look at that one. I ruled this one out this morning for some reason. Can't remember why, but all right. So I'm on my standard chart and I've got my RSI and squeeze momentum for confirmation for trend-based trading. I prefer, dip trading and pump trading, getting those retraces in those dips. That's my favorite way to trade, but I also trade with the trend sometimes using supertrend, depending what I see. The 5 minute at the moment, we've got not much. We had the beginnings of what could have been a dip sequence, and then it came up here and hit the SMA line between the Bollinger Bands. That usually negates the dip sequence. But if you want to look at support and resistance, I see some short-term support here right around 281, pretty close to that now. But if you want to look at this for a potential entry and set an alert for it, right click there, probably go 281. And I use information sources for my alert names. So this is AA score purchase, which obviously I've used many times because TradingView is remembering it in this drop-down menu. So I'm going to select that and click create. And there is your price alert. But that's not my favorite way to trade. I prefer setting alerts on the 15-minute chart. Tend to get better entries that way with these particular indicators, at least my experience. So the first one we're going to look at is divergence. Divergence is simply a disagreement between the price action and the indicators. It has a predictive effect in most circumstances, certainly not all, but I've had success trading this, done pretty well with it today on some of my manual trades. And just going back in the recent past, both directions have done pretty well on these. And I'm usually looking to get a 1% move, and I'm trading with leverage on 10x leverage. If you're trading spot, say on Coinbase Pro, or KuCoin or something like that, you may want to go for a 2 or 3% move. Give you an example of that. So let's say your alert goes off here. Well, for me, I'm going to enter this trade in my auto trading, and then I'll be out here with a 10% move on 10x leverage. But if you're trading spot, you're going to want to be take a little more time to determine where you want to get out. See, I'm seeing resistance right here, right around 293, 294. So I might set that as my take profit. So on a spot trade, on a 15-minute, probably get about 6% move, which is volatile as this one's been last week or two. I think that's a reasonable target. You could also argue that you've got, resistance here and here. See where these candles kind of congregate, and use that, as a more aggressive exit. So let's say, here's some resistance. Right about there. And then you see resistance again here. Got these getting in the way. Then you can choose that as your exit. But you still would be in those if you chose that more aggressive approach. If you chose my more conservative approach using this resistance here, you would have been out, a few hours later with a really good trade. So that's how I like to determine exit points when I'm doing spot trading. All right, and a quick review of how divergence is done. It's caught the big moves up pretty well. And if you're doing the 1% approach like me, you're catching these little pullbacks. That one, all those did really well on the short side. Not sure about some of these longs here. Yeah, that one did well. You get the idea. All these are doing well. So every divergence was profitable in the last couple of days. So that's pretty cool. The downside is this divergence from any indicator can does repaint, which means as it gets more information, it'll move over to the right. So this kind of back testing isn't the best, but it's way better than nothing. So I've got this non-repaint divergence alert here as well, so I can see if, when it actually went off, like this one probably went off in this vicinity first and then moved down here. So I would have been in here, and then maybe it wouldn't have done as well. It's hard to tell, but I've done pretty well with divergence today. And why I use this version 4, for one, it has multiple, well, the other one has multiple indicators as well, but it's alert friendly, where the other one is not. So you can trade both directions, but you'll need an alert in each direction if you're using leverage. Negative divergence once per bar close, AA score, and click create. Make sure you check your notifications. This is what I usually use for my notifications, notify an app. So that's the app on my phone. Show the pop-up, that'll be on my desktop computer, and then play a sound also on my desktop computer and on my app. And then you can choose whichever one you like. I tend to assign different sounds to different strategies. And then you'll have to set another one for positive divergence. positive here, once per bar close, and call it what you want. And that's how that works. Okay, so that's divergence. If I don't like what I see on divergence, I'll look at the super trend. As you can see, it doesn't trigger nearly as much. And then I'm also going to use my secondary indicators for confirmation, like on this sell that would have triggered here. I've got the RSI pointing down, and my momentum is negative. So I like that entry. On this buy, RSI is trending up. The momentum is trending up as well, though it's still in the red. I might have waited another bar until that triggered and then gotten in here and had a nice move up there. And this sell did well, confirmed by the RSI and the momentum. And if you prefer trend trading, you might want to use this one. It's a pretty commonly used indicator. If you're trading spot, you're going to want to choose the buy. If you just want to trade shorts, you choose the sell. And what I usually do is trade both directions, direction change, once per bar close, AA score, and there you go. And then finally, I like to use the RSI to find dips and pumps. It's a little, it's kind of like divergence, but it goes off less frequently. So I'm going to show you that with my vertical line. What I want to see on the long side is for a dip below the 30 value on the RSI here, and then a move back up. So we have that right about here. It's a little more pronounced on this one. So as you can see, we're getting earlier than the super trend on this, and then makes a really nice move up. So that would have been a really good trade. It goes above the 70 and then dips back down. So that goes off right about here. And then again, that's a nice move down. I'm only looking for 1%. And, that's easily more than that, at least eyeballing it. Yeah, it's 3%. So good stuff there. And then there are no more triggers. So this one doesn't go off as much. Then sometimes it'll putz around and trigger off 3 or 4 if it's consolidating on a, on a 30 value or on a 70 value. That's a little annoying, but I think it's worth it to set this alert. So if you want to set it for longs, you're going to right click, crossing up 30 once per bar, and then that's your for me, I call it a 1, 2, 3 dip pump alert. You can play around with this value. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go down that low. Sometimes I use 31 or 32 if I see a prior big move that didn't make it all the way down to the 30, but I don't really see that in this circumstance. So I'll probably stick with the 30, right, crossing up. If you want to trade both directions, crossing up on the 30 and down on the 70, then you're going to want to choose the entering channel. And we're going to choose 70 for the upper, 30 for the lower, and once per bar close, and call it whatever you want. And that's how you do that. Any questions on the 3 strategies I've gone over and how to set alerts on those? Okay, we're running a little behind, so I'm going to go through 1 or 2 more on Altcoin Alert, and then we'll head over to iCoinPro. So that was an AA score to find BCH. There's other sorts one can do as well. Look at this 1 hour projected range real quick. Yeah, there's not much here. I'm looking for probably 3% or higher in this middle value, and I'm not seeing any. The other one I like is long-term sentiment, matching up with the Elder Impulse Daily. long-term sentiment. You can hover over this question mark and read what it is, but essentially what people are talking about online through Twitter. And then Elder Impulse is a technical indicator. So when those two align, that is usually worthy of further investigation. So I'm going to click on long-term sentiment. I got very bullish on Maker and then bullish on the Elder Impulse Daily. 16% move. That's pretty good for Maker. Got 91% move on this one. XVG. I'm just kind of curious about that. Let's check it out. It is, thought it might be on Coinbase, but it's not. It's on crypto.com. I think we can still trade that in the US. Yeah, there's no volume there though. Let's go. Let's go to the Binance chart. Get out of this. Look at the 5-minute real quick. Hanging around the SMA line. Bollinger Band squeezing. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, this one's pumping up like crazy. This one's really unpredictable. Look at what it's been doing lately. All right, so this thing shot up 200% in a little over a day. Gave back some of that. Still up over 100%. I don't know if I'd want to trade this. Looks too volatile for me. This is more volatile than trading on leverage. Let's look at the 15-minute just for fun. We will look at this as a spot trade. I'm not aware if you can trade this on leverage. So the only divergence we haven't had one since Saturday night. So that's when that happens. I look for maybe a super trend. We just got a sell earlier today. So if this putzes around for a while and then trends back up, you might be able to catch this on a buy around here and maybe ride it back up, pick up 14, 15% on a spot trade. That'd be pretty cool. So in this scenario, just keep a super trend buy. And I think that was a long-term sentiment buy. So that's how you do that. See, divergence wasn't very useful. You got a couple dips. This dip would have been really good on Saturday, shooting up. This is one of those near dips that I was talking about earlier. Comes down not to the 30, but to 32.18. 32 is usually as high as I go on that one. But, if you want to bump it up to 33 or 35, it's your prerogative. And then we haven't had a dip below 30 since then for obvious reasons. So I don't know. In case you do get a dip like that, you want to be ready for it. Alert on your RSI crossing up on the 30. Once per bar close, long-term sentiment buy. That's how you do that. Went through that one pretty quickly. Any questions? Okay. Let's see. I wanted to look at Maker as well. So we'll just do this one as our last one. Then we'll head over to iCoinPro. Okay, 5-minute chart. Not sure what's going on here. It is below the Bollinger Band. Lots of room there. Didn't really squeeze much. That's kind of hard to interpret. When in doubt, go to indicators. Get rid of these. Okay, these bullish divergences did really well, but we haven't had one since Sunday morning. This one's been trending up pretty well. So some of these bearish ones did not do well. This one went sideways and then up. Don't like this at all. Yeah, most of those are going to be lost. Some of those are going to be losses. Yeah. Let's look at supertrend. Yeah, supertrend is better. This sell did well enough, almost 3%. SPY obviously did very well, and the sell looks like it has potential. It just triggered, you know, an hour ago. Okay, so I'd probably go with supertrend over divergence on this one. On the RSI, we got this one here trending down, would have been a good move. This one here trending up, would have been a really good move. This one here trending down would have been good. This one trending down, maybe. Get in right about here. I'm the only one who has trouble sometimes getting the shift to work down the ruler. 1.67 would have been okay. Guess we'll consider that a rhetorical question. And this did well as well. So I like the RSI as well on this setup. So don't like divergence. I like supertrend. I like the RSI. Okay. Any questions on what we've looked at with coins from Altcoin Alert? Anything you want to look at on here before we head over to iCoinPro?
I do have two questions.
Okay.
Like when you, I know you always say you only take out 1% profit, but if it's on the uptrend or downtrend, when you took your 1% and it keeps on going, do you get back in and take another 1%, or you just leave it?
If I were looking at it when it happened, I might do that manually. But to be candid, I can't stand to stare at charts very long, which is a really bad characteristic for a day trader. But so yeah, I tend to miss those. I am working on something that gets bigger moves. We'll be talking about that in my next Zoom for carbon folks. But yeah, if I'm looking at it, I may get in again, but most of the time it takes profit and I'm not always aware of it. I do my analysis, I set my take profit, and I'm done with it. But that's just me. If you want to check things, every 15, 20, 30 minutes or hourly, that's probably better than what I'm describing. And if things are still trending your way, sure, get in, do it again. So
the other, excuse me. The other question is, do you ever look at Slack, the AA scores on Slack? They actually just redid that.
The alerts on Slack.
Right, correct.
I did when I was spot trading, because a lot of those coins I could find on an exchange. But now that I'm on leverage trading, only a few of those are going to be leverage available type tokens. So to remove the headache, I don't look at those that way. My approach to Altcoin Alert is quite a bit different than what the founders intended. It was mostly supposed to be used the way you just asked about, and also the alerts, the sig dev, significant developments. But we've been in a bear market so long that the sig devs weren't that useful, and that's not AA's fault. It's just that we were in a bear market and nobody cares about good news in a bear market. So
yeah, they just redid it, and now they show like from 4 to 6 different time frames.
Mm-hmm.
The percentage that they expected to go up, the historic value of it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I just don't have the alerts
Oh,
going.
okay.
So yes, I'm aware of it, but
Yeah, wasn't
uh,
sure if you were or not.
you know, since I'm the one mostly talking about this, maybe I should look into that. Make a note of that. AA score alerts on Slack. All right, thanks for that heads up. Appreciate it, Dennis. Okay, anything else on AA before we move on to iCoinPro? All right. I need to reshare. Okay, I'm on the iCoinPro RSI Spy. It's my favorite tool to use on iCoinPro. This is, where I learned the 1, 2, 3 dip. And these are some tools to find those. You can use the trade finder. I like the RSI Spy better. So every morning I look at this and I sort it. I'm going to reload, and then I'm going to sort by the 1 hour RSI. You've seen me do alerts and analysis on the 15-minute RSI, but when something's down and out like this on the 1 hour RSI, that's usually something that's due for recovery. We've got Didix now below the 30 value on the 1 hour, so I think that's something worth checking out. Let's look at it real quick. This is one I like to trade anyway, so it's nice and volatile. Go on the 5-minute first, trending down pretty hard, but not really coming back. So taking a long on leverage here could be a bit dangerous. This is down. How much is this down? Let's look at the 1 hour real quick. Yeah, it's kind of fell off a cliff. Not that bad. 8% in about a day. I mean, it looks like a dip sequence to me. We've got the squeeze and the bubble. 1, 2. We don't really get a third dip yet, and that's starting to curve. So this may do something like this. Cross here, go up a little bit around the SMA line, and then fall again. Let's look at it on the 15-minute. Yeah, it's more pronounced here. It's a good divergence. I think we're going to get some false signals on longs. Well, on my 1% approach, that one would have barely succeeded, assuming I got in at the right time. And this one's not good. I'd still be in that trade probably with 1 or 2 ladder buys. Otherwise, divergence looks really good, just not most recently. So this one I'd sort of put on the back burner, see what supertrend's going to do. And supertrend looks better. But sometimes it has to go a while to get your desired goal, like this one, goes up first. So my ladder buy probably kicks in at 2%, and then it comes back down and I'm out. I'd get a profit in this. First position breaks even, second position gets a couple percent on 10x leverage. And that's pretty consistent on a lot of these. That's still something I'm willing to trade on. So I like what I see here on supertrend. I would go ahead and set an alert on this, and I would go both directions. On RSI, trying to find those dips and pumps. Got one here. And this one drops a little bit. Not sure if I would have been out on this or not. Yep, would have been. Next one is here. That one does really well. And this one, I think it would have triggered if I had a 30. It triggers about here, and that does really well. Now what's a little sticky is this, it's our longs here. This one drops below, and then it goes up a little bit, and then it crashes down. That's going to be similar to the one we looked at with divergence. So I like supertrend given these three choices. Any questions on DYDX? DYDX. All right, let's sort this the other way. On that one, we're looking for long. So I didn't really mention it on the last approach. Just set an alert for long and trade it that way if you want. For this one, I'm going to look for, I'm really using both these systems to find out what's moving. And then I look at the charts and make my own decisions. So just because this one says it's over, since the values are above 70 on the 1 hour RSI, these are overbought, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to trade it that way. So given these options, I'm looking for something that's traded on leverage. And to my knowledge, none of these are, but this one is render, and I like this one a lot. It's just below 70, close enough. Let's see what's happening with this. Okay, nice move up earlier today, and then mostly trending sideways, but slightly up. Kind of squeezy there, hanging around the SMA line. Don't like that. I haven't discussed this in a while, but if you want to do a price alert, some short-term support here, right around $2.11. Secondary support down here, around $2.06. So those could be places for price alerts if you don't want to deal with my indicators. All right, divergence. Looks kind of messy. Yeah, maybe we should look at the 30-minute. I don't usually do this, but it's still cluttered. I'll go back to 15. So the bullish ones obviously did pretty well, at least eventually. The bearish ones start here yesterday morning. And yeah, I'm getting my 1% move here. This one, I don't know. Yeah, my auto ladder buy kicks in here, then I'm probably out here. So that one did okay, but these are not good. So I don't like these entries at all on divergence. So I will look at supertrend to see if that one's done better in the recent past. It's done pretty well, but it's only had 2 alerts go off, since Saturday afternoon. The sell here did okay, and this buy here is still in play. So maybe then the RSI, none of these values dip below the 30. This sort of just went sideways and up gradually. Let's look at our vertical line. So this would have been the trigger for the short. Goes up here. You're probably still in this trade. Well, maybe not. That triggers a lot. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, might still be in this one from this morning. Super trend looks pretty good, but it's only 2 trades, so not sure if that's going to trigger the rest of the night. So don't really see anything there very useful. Sorry for that. Let's see if any alerts. A couple of alerts have gone off. So let's check these out. IMX these are alerts that I set this morning. We've got positive divergence on both IMX from 4:30, 15 minutes ago. Let's look at that. So the last few positive or bullish divergences did really well. This one just triggered, like I said, 15 minutes ago, and it's already up a little bit. So if you want to check that out, not financial advice, that could be a good entry. And the risk of being a little bit rude, I'm going to do that one myself. I'm in later than I would like. I usually like to get in fairly soon after the alert goes off on divergence. But sometimes it'll repaint anyway, so it's not the end of the world. All right, so that's on IMX. We just had CELO go off on both the RSI and the and divergence. So let's look at this one. So this last bullish divergence on Sunday morning did really well. So that could be an entry. Then we got this bounce here. And that could be a good entry as well. I usually take these when I see them because they don't happen as often as the divergence ones do. So I'm gonna take another trade here on my auto trader and take a long on this. We'll see if that one plays out. Okay. Well, that's about all I have to talk about with iCoinPro and Altcoin Alert. Any questions, comments, or things to check out further? Okay, we're right about 40 minutes, so this is a good place to stop. If you're watching on the recording, thank you for that. Hope to see you live next time. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comments. They help fund the channel. If you're American, or even if you're not, happy 4th of July for tomorrow. And if you're Carbon, please stick around. We will do that Zoom next. Bye.